3. Welcome to lesson number 3 for week 3 of your talk writing lessons. Before we start, just to let you know, for this lesson, for the activity of this lesson, you will need paper, preferably lined paper if that's possible, and a pencil. Okay, you'll also need to have watched all of the videos so far for talk for writing. Because this video leads off from all of the other videos. It doesn't stand alone, okay? So you need to have watched all of the other videos, talk for writing videos for week 1, 2, and 3. And then you need to have some lined paper and a pencil. And you also need to have your box up plan that you should have made after lesson number 2 this week, okay? So your activity for the last lesson that you should have done for talk for writing was to create a box up plan for your Martin Luther King biography. So you need to have that with you. So I'm just going to pause for a second, pause this video if you need to go and get anything, and then come on back, okay? Okay, so you should all be ready now. So this is our last lesson learning about biographies. Okay, this is just a short input from me, and then you are going to write your hot task, which is a biography on Martin Luther King Jr. But before we get started on our biographies, we're just going to do a very quick little bit of revision. So first sort of piece of revision that we're doing is I've set a timer here on my notebook for 1 minute. I'm going to start it. It's going to give you 1 minute, and I'd like you to see how many conjunctions you can come up with. Do you remember what a conjunction is? So a conjunction is a word that joins together two clauses in a sentence, isn't it? So for example, and is a conjunction. So I'm going to give you a minute. How many conjunctions can you come up with? Okay, you can use scrap paper for this. Are you ready? Got a pencil? Off you go. "15 seconds gone. Is there anything you can use to help remind you? Is there anything we learned to jog your memory? Less than 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Any acronyms? 5 seconds. Just finish writing your last one and stop. Okay, so you should have had a list there. I hope you had got a few conjunctions down. Don't worry if you couldn't remember any, because we're just going to have a quick look now. So a conjunction, if you remember, is a word that joins together clauses to make the sentence a little bit more complicated. It makes a compound or a complex sentence. And have a look, you could have used these acronyms to help you. If you just remember the word fanboys, then you can use that to help remind you of all of those conjunctions. For, and, nor, but. Okay, they're all listed there under fanboys, and fanboys is a conjunction you can use. Lists the conjunctions that you use to add a coordinating clause to your sentence. Or if you remember, or even as well, if you remember the acronym, I saw a wabab, then that's a way of reminding yourself of all of these other subordinating conjunctions. So really big well done if you remembered those. If you didn't, don't worry. This is just my way of reminding you before you start your hot task, okay? So to make a sentence a complex sentence or a compound sentence, you just use one of these conjunctions to add another clause, okay? To make your sentence a little bit more interesting. Okay, We also, in this topic, learned about relative clauses, didn't we? So, can you add a relative clause to this sentence? I've left a little gap where you would put a relative clause. Look at the punctuation I've used. A comma, okay? The relative clause goes in between two commas. The Easter Bunny, relative clause, bounced into the room. Pause this video. Can you add a relative clause? You don't have to write it down, you can just say it. Okay, I hope you came up with something. There could be lots of different things, but you probably would have used the word who. The Easter Bunny, who was enormous, bounced into the room. The Easter Bunny, who was carrying 1,000 Easter eggs, bounced into the room. The Easter Bunny, who was gloriously white, bounced into the room. Okay, so it's a way of adding another little bit of description about that noun. And I'd really like you to use that in your hot task. So, if you want to spend any more time revising quickly relative clauses or coordinating or subordinating clauses, then you can do that. You can re-watch the videos where I went through it, or you can do some activities on BBC Bite Size if you want to. If you feel like you kind of understand them, let's move on to our hot task. So, what you're doing for today's activity, you are using your box up plan that you made of your hot task, and you are using it to create your biography. So on the left hand side of this PowerPoint, you can see my box up plan. So I've got all of the sentences written out that I've with information about Gandhi's life. But that is not a biography. It's not laid out correctly, is it? That's just my plan, so that when I come to writing my biography, I know what I'm going to do. Now I need to put all the information from my box up plan into my biography layout. Okay, then I've completed my hot task. And you can see on the right hand side of the page, my biography layout should look something like this. Okay, it has a heading. We know from our text map on Rosa Parks, it has a heading, subheadings, space for a picture. So here I've started writing out my biography. I've used the name of the person I'm writing about as my heading. I've kept the subheading the same, early life, but it's in my plan. So by looking at my plan, my box up plan, I know what I'm doing with my subheading. And then I look at my box up plan for my first sentence, my second sentence, and I carry on. And can you see I've not left a paragraph after my sentence? These sentences all combine to make the same paragraph until I move on to the second section of my biography, okay, under a new subheading. So I've got my title, my heading, Mohandas Gandhi, early life. Mohandas Gandhi was born on 2nd of October 1868 in Porbandar, India. At that time, India was under British rule. And what I do next, I'd look back at my plan. What sentence do I need to add now? Oh yes, I can see I need to say Gandhi, who was a shy child, lived with his parents and 3 siblings. So I just add that to my biography. Okay? You shouldn't need to do too much thinking in this lesson because you've already done all the thinking in our previous 2 lessons. You're just putting it all together now into a biography. So your targets for this hot task are: one target is about layout. Can I use headings, subheadings, and pictures to present my biography? Sorry, my head is in the way a little bit there of that word. Number 2, can I include key information about Martin Luther King's life? You're all writing about Martin Luther King. You should, from doing your plan and your research, you should have lots of facts about Martin Luther King that you'll be putting in your biography. Can I write in the 3rd person? So at no point in this piece of work are you going to say I. You're not going to say, I think Martin Luther King is really great. No. Okay, you're writing in third person, which means you're using the word he. He did this, he did this, he was born here, he died here. Okay? Can I use a range of sentence types, including compound and complex sentences? And that just means using a conjunction to add a subordinate or coordinate clause, okay? So it means using fanboys or I saw a wubub, just to add an extra clause. Can I use a relative clause? Can I use pronouns appropriately to aid clarity and avoid repetition? Remember, we did a whole lesson about not just saying the person's name again and again and again because it will sound funny. Sometimes you have to say he or she. Sometimes you have to say the person's name. You have to mix it up a little bit so that it sounds sensible. Okay? So those are your targets. Those are the things that I'm going to be looking for when I look at your work. And here I've got a page of rules. So hot task rules. Number 1, I will try my hardest because a hot task is my chance to show off. This is the biggest piece of work across the whole of the 3 weeks. This is what we've been aiming towards, okay? So this is your chance to say, look at me, look how amazing I am, look how brilliant I can write a biography, okay? Impress us. I will take care that my writing is neat and my sentences make sense. So you need to think, you need to just take it slow, okay? This needs to look like your best work, okay? It needs to look impressive. And read your work back, check your work, check your sentences make sense. I will do this work on my own. If we were in school, you wouldn't be allowed to talk in a hot task, would you? Okay, and if we're in school, you're not allowed to ask a teacher for help in a hot task, or you can ask, but the teacher can't help you, can they? So you need to act as if we're at school now for this hot task. Do it on your own. You've got your plans to help you, and that's all you need. Okay, no talking, no help from a grown-up for the hot task, all right? I will work quietly for at least 45 minutes or until I'm finished. So when we're at school, you work for a whole lesson on a hot task. That's about 50 minutes. So that's around the amount of time that you should be working at home today on this, okay? So I've put that in there so that the adults that you live with know how long you should be doing this work for, okay? So it's up to you, whatever screen you want to have up to help you. You might want to have up your targets, so you know what I'm looking for. You might want to have this screen up to remind you of what your biography should look like, okay? So feel free to get an adult to help you pause this screen on the right page for you so that you can do that. Good luck. I'm really excited to read all of these biographies on Martin Luther King, really excited. So once they're finished, make sure that somebody takes a photo of them and uploads them to Tapestry, okay? Thank you very much, Year 3. And I will see you all very soon. Goodbye.